Okay, welcome to ANZCRL Combined Racing League Side Endurance Series for round 2 for the 6 hour of Monza, the Temple of Speed. And we're currently just started qualifying and we're looking at the GT3s. It's a staggered qualifying, so the GT3s are out for the first 10 minutes and then the remaining 10 minutes will be the LMPHs. We're just watching the fastest man that was out on track in practice, Devil X, in the dry. Now we've got wet conditions in this Porsche. Practice, Devil was doing a 148.04, won the fastest of the GT3s in the short 10-minute practice that they had. And he's out now in the wet for qualifying as he's just started his first hot lap. In front he's got one of the Bentleys and behind he's got one of the Bentleys, so he's got a little bit of a gap in between the two as he's just negotiating the first the first chicane. Fantastic, rich of history track here of Monza. Different layouts that it's had in its time. The old oval banking that you can still see. Part when they go underneath the old part of the track as well. Old banking, I think it is. So it's a 6 hour simulated race tonight, but actually it's only ×2 time progression, so the guys are going to have it up against them 3 hours behind their sim rig tonight on the console on the Xbox. Making the most of this game on Project Cars 2. See, Devil might get a little run from the Bentley in front for this qualifying run. Or he could get balked as well. You might see the number 87 is actually a fill-in driver at the moment in the Bentley. Tim and Jack filling in for Racing Banana, who's, I think at the moment his racing commitments have taken a hold. It's good to see some of the members of ANZCRL Combined Racing League here in Australia pitching in to help out. As we can see, Devil X going up to the top of the timesheets at the moment. Weary Knight just behind him. Not that far at all in that second Bentley. Only 0.2 of a second behind. Then we've got Dado Racer, lone one in the K-Pax McLaren. His teammate Metal Drive not making tonight's racing. Tricky conditions here at the moment, here at Monza in Italy. This light rain that's falling on track. LMPH drivers are probably hoping that this rain could ease off, but it doesn't look like it's going to ease off anytime soon. So they're going to have to do their qualifying run with probably the track at its worst condition that it will be at. The GT3 cars have, as you can see, there's a little bit of standing water, not much. It's slowly puddling up, though, pulling up around different areas of the track. The LMPH guys will be eagerly watching on their monitors, seeing where those puddles are forming. And when they get in their qualifying run, where they're going to have to try and avoid it to try and get their eke out every little bit. It's only the 4 LMPH cars tonight. We're missing 2 in action. Both Simo Racing 4 in the second of the Audi Sport Team Joe's cars, teaming up with Matty Seeking, but he's got his fill-in driver at the moment with Dark Lord, I think it was, Dark Lord filling in that number 7. And Nürburger 79, wishing him a good time. He's out at a 40th birthday party. Obviously life gets involved sometimes, so it was a bit devastated, you could say the least, as he practiced a lot around here at Monza in his number 1 Porsche team 919 hybrid, teaming up with Dark Racing 40. So Darky showed some pace early on, as we just seen Dado top the timesheets there by 1.122 of a second in front of Devil X. As Night Havoc's coming through here in the Team Virtuals Audi. and he's up in 4th. Nice, well presented car there, the Thrustmaster. Probably a wheel of choice for a lot of Xbox runners. Some people obviously going up the higher market as well, as we know, to Fanatec. And there's still a few people that still love their Logitech gear. Rightly so. They're a solid little unit. The G920 and now the newer version that they've got out there. And there's his teammate in the number 14 Audi. Not too far off the times there of one another, so it's going to be a good little inter-team battle there. Lolux trying to get some more out of this Ferrari. The Tifosi crowd will be wanting to see this Ferrari, a lone Ferrari, for the 6 hour of Monza here on ANZCRL. And he still can't better it. Obviously going to aim for a more consistent run. We've only got 2 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. Currently we're looking at the man on pole, Dado Racer of the GT3 class. The LMPHs are waiting just under 2 minutes before they have to go out, as Dado's called it quits. He's happy with that time. Long race, 3 hours. I guess position isn't everything here, but knowing the first part of that chicane, first corner, it's good to be at the pointy end if you can be. Devil X is doing a great job in the BAM Esports Porsche 911 GT3R. And he's called it quits as well. They're all starting to find that they're not going to make anything better as the track conditions seem to be deteriorating, so it's not a good sign for these LMPH drivers. Let's just hope we can get to see them come out and create and make some good times. Roughly they're around Devil X, as we said earlier, did a 1:48, and his time that's second on the grid is a 52.5, so roughly 4 seconds slower, 3.5 seconds slower in the wet conditions here around Monza. It's all about speed, this track, but you need to be able to get that power on and get through that the parabolic to get a good run down here, the main straight. So important, and these wet conditions just make it so tricky, and obviously the braking, they can't brake as late. Tyres screaming for grip on this wet surface into turn 1. It's a big gap between the top 3 here at the moment. Then we got Night Havoc, who's in the pits. Tim and Jack, Commander Jim, his teammate, is actually out at the moment trying to see if he can get anything out of this Audi, as the LMPHs will be about ready to leave the pits, as we might just stay on Commander Jim and he's on his final hot lap. See if he can get higher than 6th position. See if he can just leapfrog his teammate there in 5th position. Into the Ascari chicane, great part of the circuit. Really wanting to get a good run out of that corner. Don't want to get too much over the curbs bouncing around. You want to try and have that car nice and stable. As you can see, I think in the background there, Weary Knight trying to see if he can get a little bit better time. See if he can get onto the front row. At the moment, it's the McLaren and the Porsche on the front row. Oh, it's not the front row of the GT3s. They're going to be behind the LMPHs. Oh, as Commander Jim has called it quits. Will Illogical get his time in? As you can see, the sun trying to shine through this rain, but the rain has not let off at all through this qualifying session. Can Weary do anything? It doesn't look like he can. No, he doesn't. So as we can see, those conditions are absolutely atrocious out here now. As Commander Cirrus looks like he's not leading them at the moment. He's second out at the moment. We've got actually Dark Racing 40 came out first in that number 2 Porsche. So here he comes, on for his first time lap. Well, the big boys are out now. Only 4 of them here representing the LMPH class tonight, 7 in the GT3. Total of 11 in the field. Should be interesting. Hopefully we can all stay connected for this 3-hour race. ×2 time progression. Look at that spray shooting up from the back of the Porsche. There we go, Darky there doing a 35. And it's sort of still staying the same. He did a 31.935 in practice, so again, about 3.5 seconds or so off the pace. There's Dark Lord in that Audi, coming on through so far second. Just about a second off the pace at the moment. Commander Cirrus in the Toyota, teaming up with also Illogical Sports in the second of the Toyotas. So it's very tricky with the LMPH cars in this Project Cars 2 game. Obviously manual KERS, or the power boosts, to use the hybrids, the extra boost power. They only get X amount per lap before it regenerates itself, but they do generate through the braking, so a lot of heavy braking points here where they'll actually regenerate a little bit of power, but it's all about when they deploy the KERS button. There is an art to driving these cars fast. Dark Lord mentioning through the first chicane here at Monza. We might just see if we can just jump on the roof here. Just see how wet it is here on the track at the moment. Good. Oh, he's up a little bit on his best lap time here. He looks like he can go on with this, get a nice tow from Cirrus in front of him. You may just see him challenge Darky for pole. The only diesel in the field. up even higher now, so he's going quicker again. So at the moment this lap time, but Darky's just in front of him as well up the road, so Darky's time could be a little bit faster as these tyres obviously come up to a bit of temperature. He's gone in deep, but he's still get it back onto the groove as he's going for his run now. We may just see Dark Lord jump up again up to pole. Yes, he does. He's taken pole with a 134.129, 300ths of a second faster than Dark Racing 40. We were on board there. He's still going on with it by the looks of things. The other drivers are starting to come off the track. Commander Cirrus has had a track warning. So he's going to have one more shot at it, as most of these guys will. Here comes the Porsche. Into the ANZCRL chicane. Jumping over the curbs. He's faster than what he has been through there before, previously. It's all about generating a little bit of heat in these tyres in these wet, damp conditions. More than damp. A lot of standing water starting to come onto this track here at the moment. We just hold our breath to see what Darky can do, if he can actually still grab pole. It was very close. Oh, but he's going to have another shot at it. All drivers are going to get another shot. He's actually going to get 2 more goes at it if he's got enough fuel. We might just bring up that and just see how much fuel he's got. He will have enough fuel to do 2 more laps. Currently, as it stands, he's still sharing the front row with Dark Lord 78, a Logical Sports, the man that is actually leading the championship at the moment. Currently in 3rd. And here he goes for his final lap. What can he do? So hard to get your braking right in the dry, but just in the wet would be just as tricky. So they don't slip up too much. It looks like Commander Cirrus has put it into the garage. He's done for the afternoon for the qualifying. So Logical, this will be his last run. Oh, he's just run wide. He can't get that power down that lap there. Already a second down in Sector 1. I can't see him coming back doing anything from here to even challenge Dark Racing 40 as he coming around now the final corner, the Parabolica. He's going to be lucky enough to get one more run in here if he wants to. It's up to him. If he grabs pole here, I think he'll probably put it in the garage. Oh, and he misses out by 0.056 of a second, so he can go on with this for one more lap. As qualifying has now finished as Dark Lord, what's he going to do coming around the final corner? Can he set a better time than what he has previously? He's the only other man that may have been up. We have not seen any sectors. And he has. He's bettered that again by about 400ths of a second. So that is now, oh, not even 400ths of a second, sorry. Less than that. You could almost say about 0.25 of a second. So we'll stay on board Dark Racing. We've just missed his first sector. It should come up on our monitors shortly after he comes down through here. Down past, that's the old part of the circuit up above. And here he comes through the ANZCRL chicane. Once he comes out of the exit here, we'll see the Sector 2 time, see if he's up or not. Getting a nice run through there. He's down a little bit, but he's got a nice little run out of there. Can he gain that few little bit more tenths of a second down the straight and into the final corner? We'll shortly find out. The timer will end. We won't see this until we see the final results come up. He's had a good battle there with Dark Lord for pole position at the moment either way. What have we got? Dark Lord 78 holds out just from Dark Racing 40. So we're going to have an Audi, Porsche, the 2 Toyotas on the second row. Then we're going to have a gap, and on the front row for the GT3s, we'll have the McLaren and the Porsche, Dado Racer and Devil X. Then we're going to have a mixture of a alternative of the Bentley Continental, the Audi, the Bentley and the Audi of Weary Night, Night Havoc, Tim and Jack, and Commander Jim. And then rounding out will be the lone Ferrari for the Ferrari fans out there, and with Lolux 53. Obviously he's got a strategy in place to get this race sorted. So at the moment we'll just have a quick little break, so think of it as a quick a commercial break. I'll make sure that all the drivers are ready. As we know, it's going to be a 3-hour race for these guys, simulated for a 6-hour run in game time, so it's going to be fantastic to see the change of the time, and we'll be back very shortly before we start the race. Just hold on and we'll just keep you on the pole position on those results there, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so welcome back. We're just final touching of the drivers getting ready to get in their cars to get to the grid. As we can see here at the moment, we've got Dark Lord 78 in that team. Yost Audi. What a sensational job. He had a big qualifying run with Dark Racing 40. A big battle there in that Porsche. So Audi and Porsche battle. The 2 Toyotas not too far behind in the Team Toyota Gazoo Racing. Logical Sports and Commander Cirrus. Sensational run by Dado Racer in that McLaren, toppling Devil X, who showed form throughout the practice session and through qualifying. That was on top for a while until Dado got that time out with a 152.383. Weary Night in the P51 Sim Sports Audi. Not the Audi, sorry, in the Team Bentley. And then we got the Night Havoc in the Audi in the Team Virtual Drivers, Audi R8 LMS. Then Tim and Jack in the second of the P51 SimSport Bentley Continentals, with Commander Jim in 10th in the other Audi R8, and Lolux for the Tifosi crew in the final position 11th or 7th in the GT3. Not far at all. I think that Ferrari will see further up the field as the race progresses. Conditions were wet in qualifying. The GT3s went out first for the first 10 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes we had the LMPHs, so they're roughly around about 2 seconds off the pace in what they were doing in practice in the dry for the LMPHs, and around 3 seconds off the pace for the GT3. So the extra downforce that the LMPHs generate obviously helps them there in the wet a little bit better than the GT3s. It's going to be a little bit, there is rain on the forecast for this 3-hour race, 6 hours time simulated. But the good news is that we start off dry. We've got, I think it's heavy clouds out there. I'm looking at them now, they're heavy clouds. But it definitely is, the forecast on the radar is for some rain before this race is out, so there's a good possibility, probably about 100% chance I can tell you now, that there's going to be some light rain halfway through this race, and then there's a good possibility of it may be some more rain just to end the race, depending how things happen. So we're going to start off at 11 o'clock in the daylight in the afternoon in the game, and then that's going to run for 6 hours in game time. So local time at Imola, we should see it all finished at 5 p.m. So we're going to see some nice sun fairly high up in the sky early on, and we've got the okay now from race control that all the drivers are ready to get out there. They got a formation lap, and after the formation lap they'll be lining up 2 by 2 for a rolling start, as they do in the World Endurance Championship. And there's our pole man, Dark Lord 78. Wow, what an absolute great run from him. He's the driver for hire, basically. He's a reserve driver in the first round back at Hockenheim. I believe that he ran, I think he was actually running, I don't know if he ended up running it or not, but he was actually signed up for the BME Sports Porsche, but he may not have actually made it in the end for the race. I can't remember, but anyway, he was there originally to drive, but then he's obviously now in the LMPH class, subbing for in that number for Matty Seeking, the number 7 he's in, the Audi Sport. I thought he was in the number 8 for Simo Racing, who actually can't make it tonight. So it's a shame that the 2 Audis aren't here to battle it with the Toyotas. And same thing as the Porsche. We've only got the one Nürburgring 79. He's out at a party, a 40th birthday party, as we're all showing our age. But I'm sure that he'll be looking forward to seeing the result that Darky can get from the sister car of that Porsche in the same team. And then a Logical Sports leading the way in their Toyota over his teammate Commander Cirrus in the number 5 Toyota Gazoo Racing. And there's that K-Pax McLaren from Dado Racing. So we're looking forward to seeing how he goes. Devil X, now he's my tip for the GT3 class win in that Porsche. Good on fuel. And just a note for everyone watching, there is a mandatory pit stop, or there's 3 mandatory pit stops for the GT3 class through this race. So they all got to make minimum 3 pit stops. They can be a stop and go as long as they actually stop in their pit bay and then drop back down and go. So Devil X though, he's been showing some pace. One of the youngest drivers here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. Sim Racing Group for Xbox Project Cars 2 here in Australia and New Zealand only. And we love bringing these special events, this side endurance series organised by the admin. Originally it came as a late inclusion into our 2021 series, and so glad that we're running it. So we had a fantastic race at Hockenheim earlier in the year, and you can see that all at our ANZCRL Combined Racing League Twitch channel. And I'm sure that though that they're long races, they're always good just to watch, even in the background. Maybe if your job allows it, you can just have something in the background on your monitor, on a second screen somewhere, and just have a little look at the action that happens sometimes throughout here in the sim racing. All our most of us members are all passionate motorsport fans, so we take our racing as they would in real life. Fairly, we have some fun, but we also do respect one another. Mistakes do happen, as we all know in the real life motorsport as well. Look at this as they're coming down here underneath the old part of the circuit. The Ascari, so a few nerves will be starting to happen in front of these, in behind the wheels of these guys in their sim rigs. And they're ready to go for 3 hours, simulated 2-hour race. So much to happen throughout the event. Good to see Sato 15 and Huz 21 hello in the Twitch stream. Hopefully you stick around for a little bit, or if you leave, maybe come back and see us in the end to see what happens. We've got 3 hours of racing in front of us. I will need to have a coffee break in between somewhere along the line, but here we go. So we've got on the outside will be the pole sitter. So Darky's actually got a little bit of a benefit being on the inside, but Dark Lord is also on the clean side. Data on the inside will be a bit dirty. Most cars run down here on the outside, so you'll have more grip. As you can see them just lining up at the moment. And Dado's actually taken the inside. So the GT3 class can choose what side they want. And as they go, off they go. And Dark Lord has actually had a good run. And it's all about who's, if they're all using their curves, it looks like Dark is sticking his nose down the inside. They're going to go 2 by 2 through this chicane. Nice, clean driving. Very respectful driving by our pro drivers. All got through nice and clean in the the LMPH classes. Devil X makes it through, just following Dado. As Weary Knight comes out through in 3rd position at the moment. Look at them, all got through nice. They know it's going to be a long race. Oh, and we're talking about that Dark Lord. And one of the, I think it might be actually a Logical Sports, the championship leader, have come together, coming through the Ascari. That's not a good sign early on, as the Logical's got a lot of damage there. You want to get off the line quickly if you can, as the GT3 cars are going to be coming through. So he's got himself now in a whole lot of thick of trouble as Dado Racer has surrendered that lead in that GT3 class to Devil X in the Porsche. And he's under fire with Knight having down the inside, or is it Weary Knight I should say. What a great move by Weary Knight in that Bentley Continental, and what can he do now? He's having another little look at Devil. He's got the headlights on. Great driving by Weary Knight as Devil was right up the curb. He's backing them all up. Look at the 2 team Audis as well. This is where the action is at the moment. Look at them all coming through, filtering on through. As we've got a Logical Sports in the look at this way. Oh, Logical, what are you doing? You've got the GT3s there, and you come and weave it through like mobile chicanes. Got to just take it easy, take a breath. It's a long race. Look at the battle pack coming on through here. Sensational looking racing at the moment by the GT3 cars. Going to be tight, he's going to be inches. Oh, Dado, he's got it all wrong, and he's caused a big problem. The Tifosi crew will not be happy with the McLaren. What has he done to Lolux? Oh no, that's not a very good thing to see coming into. He had it all crossed up. It looked like the rear brakes were locking up on the entry into the first chicane. It's Weary Knight. They're trying to get that. Got the Bentleys now 1-2. Or maybe not 1-2, actually. We got Devil X. Sorry, I wouldn't say 1, 2, 3 and 4. Sorry about that for Devil X and these supporters. He's out in front at the moment with Night Havoc chasing him down in the Community Sports McLaren. I mean, not McLaren, Audi, sorry. Team Virtual Drivers. And madness is definitely what we've just seen. We've seen a little bit of madness after a good start, but coming around for the second start for the GT3s, they got it all wrong into the first chicane. And yeah, definitely, as I say, I am Clarky, you were right, mate. They're running it like a sprint race. It is a 3-hour race, and they've all gone fairly hard out early. They need to settle themselves into a groove. Look at the two, the Bentleys just going at it together at the moment. P51 SimSport crew, they finally got out from the thick of things. Lolux climbed up very early, but got taken out unfortunately with Dado Racer with a little mistake from Dado. But up in front in the LMPHs, we've got Dark Racing 40 with Commander Cirrus in second. So we've had Dark Lord actually has made a mistake somewhere. He got caught up obviously with a Logical Sports, so they'd be carrying some damage, both those cars. And Won't be happy with the treatment he got from Illogical Sports, I'd say. But anyway, these things sometimes happen, as he's looks like he's just hitting the inside curb. You could just see in the background of Dark Lord, making him unsettled a little bit. But Illogical will be happy to see his teammate Commander Cirrus currently up in second. And yes, quick Mick, it is too long. 3 hours is a long, long time. I'm reading from some of the chat, but anyway. I was just reading that earlier one from Saturday. That is right. They've just come off from running in the British Touring Car Championship, most of these drivers, so they got to cool their heads down a little bit if they can. These are different beasts to the little saloon cars that they were racing in the British Touring Cars, that's for sure. So here they go, as Dark Lord into the pits, probably for damage repair early on. Don't know if that can be worked into any strategy, but he's going to have to now. Early pit stop, only 6 minutes into the race. It's devastating for the Audi Sport Team Joe's cars, but as we got the Team Bentley, the P51 Sim Sport cars running side by side down the main straight here of Monza, the Temple of Speed. They're getting their braking probably sort of a little bit better. They were so crowded early on. Tim and Jack has just run a little bit too deep into the first chicane. Other cars benefiting of that. Commander Jim jumping up there in the virtual Sim Sport car of the Audi, and also Dado slipping down the inside of turn 2 there. Look at the size of these Bentleys, they're big over the sleek Audi and the McLaren. Here's Lolux with a little bit of damage you can see that he's had from the other cars. It's a shame because he obviously had a race plan up his sleeve. He's still definitely not out of it though, as he's just got it all wrong on the exit of that corner. He's got a little bit of damage. He's costing himself a lot of time trying to stay out though. He's probably better off to look at pitting and getting his repair damage, as it's just going to cost him more and more time. You may as well bite the bullet now, get it over and done with, and see what happens. As Dark Racing 40 now is the car that we saw in the background over there of Lolux, and they're only on lap 5 and they're already outlapping the GT3 cars, so you can say, and the other thick of the GT3 cars are only in front, so probably every 6 laps we're going to see these LMPHs overtaking a GT3 car, so it's going to get fairly busy, and where they catch up to these cars is going to be very interesting. That's what Commander Cirrus is betting on here at the moment, as Dark Racing 40's just starting to get them here into the first chicane. It wouldn't have held him up too much, but now coming through this turn 2 area, he's had a nice clear run getting through Tim and Jack there. Next on the radar is Dado, who's actually having a look on the inside of Commander Jim at the same time, so that's had Darky just think twice. This is where the good drivers start to show and shine. They pick their moments to overtake, as you can see. Darky not pushing the point, putting himself in between. As Commander Cirrus though has had a good run, he could almost block Darky into the next corner, but he hasn't. And Dado just getting a little bit tight for room there. Had to get his elbows in, ran wide. Allowed a bit of nerve here at the moment when these fast LMPH cars come through, as Devil X has made a mistake. He's dropped to second, and we got Night Havoc actually out in front at the moment in the Audi R8. So for all your Audi fans, cheer on Night Havoc. He's having a good run here at the moment in that number 12 Team Virtual Drivers Audi R8 LMS. Gone around the outside, but the move is on. Commander Cirrus has made this move on Dado, on Dark Racing 40. But here comes Darky down on, oh, he just thought twice. Commander Cirrus just finding it hard to get the power down there. You can see how the game just doesn't quite show how it looks. You can just see how it turned on him a little bit on exit. Great battle up front at the moment for the LMPH battle. We've just gone through 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the race. We're on lap 7 with Commander Cirrus and the team Toyota, the Toyota Gazoo Racing, number 5, leading the Porsche, number 2 of Dark Racing 40. And then we have the second of the Toyota Gazoo Racing in Logical Sports in 3rd position, and then Dark Lord in the lone Team Yost Audi. Oh, as we've got Dark Lord actually there, he's just been falling a lap down now. He's just made a mistake and looped it around at the Ascari chicane. So he's in the walls at the moment as we're looking at a battle here for Dark Racing 40. These things can happen so quick. It's where they unleash their DRS. Oh, I mean not DRS, their KERS. As Commander Cirrus has had to go through the chicane and he's given up the lead of the race back to Dark Racing 40. Big moment of the race early on. We've had three lead changes at the moment of the race. We're only about 12 minutes in. 2 hours 48 remaining. We've got a long way to go, a lot to play out. Dado Racing knows all about how it'll take time, and he can still make inroads. There's still plenty of time for this McLaren K-Pax car to get back up in front at the moment. He's trailing around about 4 seconds or so off the lead of the GT3 cars in Night Havoc. Night Havoc doing a great job out front at the moment, with Devil X not too far behind him in the Porsche, who's got a big battle with Weary Knight. As the P51 Sim Sports Bentley Continentals are starting to move their way forward, with Weary Knight pounding all over the back of the Porsche. And we do know that on the radar that rain seems to start heading its way towards Monza circuit, so we could start seeing some drops in the next half an hour or so, just to add a little bit more complexity to this motor race. As Weary Knight's having a look down the inside, he should have a run. He can keep it going, but it looks like that Porsche is so nimble out of that final corner. Got the power. So now it's all about who can brake the latest, and it looks like the Porsche, has always been, history's been known for its brakes. Drivers are definitely going to feel it after the 3 hours if they're going to stay like this for the entirety of this race. Let alone for an hour battling like this. It's very tiring. A lot of mental strength is needed to get right through this race. And Devil's rejoined back in front, but he may have to have a slowdown penalty there or give up that position. We'll soon see. So we might just go over onto the speedo, have a look at the fuel that they're running. They say that both Devil X and Weary Knight hopefully running full fuel at the moment. Oh, well, they started full fuel. They can still see Night Havoc just in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the GT3s all in shot. The alone Lolux further afield. Really likes to take that tighter inside line. Not necessarily the fastest, because you can get you're on the dirty side of the track as well. As you can see, the Porsche just still pulling away, even though he was right around the outside. He just gets a drive coming out of that corner. Great start to this motor race after they've settled down after these few little shenanigans. Well, you'd think it would be the turn 1 on lap 1, but it was actually lap 2 that it all happened. And then through the Ascari chicane was a big moment of the LMPHs as well, between, I think it was Logical Sports and Dark Lord, which was unfortunate, but they're still motoring around. Dark Lord is actually a lap down early in the race. But like we saw also in Hockenheim, a few lobby issues that created a few little tyre problems for some of the leading LMPH cars. Had them falling back to the grips of the guys that ended up being a lap down early on, and it was a great battle near the end. So please, if you don't want to hang around for the full 3 hours, I can fully understand, but please try and come back for the final parts of this race to see how it's all panning out. As these normally history tells, these long endurance races, usually with about half an hour to go, it usually comes alive again. So we're looking forward to just eating up the time, getting the laps done, go through a few things throughout this race. And they're going to have the challenge of also this wet weather that looks like it's going to come on through very shortly. The radar doesn't look too good, and even when you stick your head up out the sky, it doesn't look very promising. As Dado Racer has now got Tim and Jack right behind him, starting to pressure him in the second of the P51 Sim Sport Bentleys. And a great little battle in the GT3 class. There's a couple going on at the moment. We should be seeing very shortly probably the LMPH cars coming back around sometime to maybe start lapping these guys again. Probably in the next lap or so. Yeah, you can say right on the money. There comes Dark Racing 40 in the background. Lights blazing in that number 2 Porsche. Currently just under 2 seconds in front of the leading Toyota of Commander Cirrus. Look at the pace that these cars have, the LMPHs. They just absolutely screaming past them. And Commander Cirrus has been able to get through Dado, so that was a big moment for Commander Cirrus. He's got a little time penalty, but it was very important that he gets through. He didn't want to get held up coming through the Ascari through a GT3. He would have lost a ton of time. But as it turns out, he hasn't lost any time at all to Dark Racing 40, so that's been great driving by Commander Cirrus. He judged that, and a little bit of luck also comes through with this endurance racing, but he got through them, weaved through, and he pushed hard to make that move on Dark Racing 40, so tremendous job. As he's looking down the outside, and Devil X as well has just been overtaken by the P51 Sim Sport Bentley Continental, just as the leading LMPHs were coming on through. So what can Weary Knight do? He's got a 3.5 second gap to Night Havoc in the Audi. if he can chase him down. I'm sure he's got the time to be able to do it as well. He's last time would have been with also the LMPHs coming through, and the battle he had with Devil X. He was a little bit slower the previous lap. It should settle down. We're anticipating the leading LMPHs to come in within the next 25 minutes or so, 20 minutes or so. It might just be the right time when the rain starts falling, so they might be able to, if the rain comes a bit early, they may have to try and stay out if they can on the slicks before they come in for the wets. So that's all about the strategy, the calls that are going to have to be made throughout this race. There's a Logical Sports now coming back on through. He didn't actually pit for damage that time. It looked like his car was fairly sort of crabbing a little bit after the incident that he had with Dark Lord. And he seems to have got to manage his car at the moment. When he pits, obviously he's going to have a little bit of a time in the pits for damage repair as well, so he's going to drop a little bit further back from Commander Cirrus, I'd say, his teammate. But he's well and truly, he's got enough in front there from Dark Lord. Dark Lord's just struggling just a little bit with that Audi at the moment. The pole sitter of the race in the wet, so the wet weather's yet to come, so you know, the race isn't over for Dark Lord. We saw how fast he was in qualifying through the wet, so hopefully he's got a good setup there. He's continued on to the race for a wet race. Majority of the race they'd say would be dry more than wet by the looks of things, depending on how long this wet weather hangs around. Oh, he's just having a few little problems. There's a bit of tank slapper going on, wrestling that car. Just the Logical coming on through past the leading GT3 car of Night Havoc. Number 12, Virtual Sim Sports. Virtual Drive, Team Virtual Drives, I should say. I'd like to call it just the Thrustmaster car. He's teaming up with Commander Jim, who's in a battle there with Dado Racer. Trying to chase down Devil at the same time as well as Tim and Jack. I don't know if he's had a little bit of an issue. He was behind Dado earlier, but he's dropped back just a little bit. As Commander Cirrus is now getting closer and closer to Dark Racing 40. That previous lap he was just a touch faster, as you can see up on the monitors up the top left. Now that previous lap, if he can continue this on, they've obviously got some clear running now without when they've cleared the lap traffic, so they can really knuckle down for the next 4 laps or so. Look at Commander Cirrus under the brakes there. He's gained a ton of time under brakes. And then obviously on the acceleration, so Dark Racing probably used a little bit of curves coming out of that corner. Out of the chicane. Great part of the circuit up around the top end here of Imola. These two right-hand corners, I think it's Nismo 1 or it's Nismo 2 or something like that they're called. I'll look up, don't worry, I'll get the track map up get the names of the some of these corners, or if you're in the chat and you know what those 2 corners are, maybe just type her in. Save me the hassle. Look at all those speakers up on the left, ready to blast through for the Tifosi crew of the crowd that's so passionate with their Team Ferrari cars. They just love them. Why can't you not like them? Just the colour of them. Nothing better than seeing a Ferrari, but unfortunately Lolux driving with a damaged car at the moment under no fault of his own. After a sensational start from him, getting a little bit tagged up and turned around into the chicane up here. It'd be lovely to drive one of these things in real life. There's a few little drops I'm seeing on the screen. I'm not too sure. We may just quickly go on board with the Ferrari and see if we can see any signs of raindrops on that windscreen. It doesn't look like there's anything there, so maybe a little bit somewhere coming through there on the part of the circuit as that rain's starting to come on through. As you can see, those clouds starting to show in the distance. As Commander Sirius has made a mistake. Well, he's dropped a ton of time anyway, either way. And there's definitely something there, as I can sort of see some something that looks like I'm pretty sure that's a bit of rain on our monitors at the moment. Yes, there was a bit of wetness on the screen. So can these drivers stay out? It's only just starting. It's only going to be, looks like there's not much in it, as far as rain's concerned at the moment. But there's definitely a little bit of precipitation, I should say. Put an R in it, Woody. Come on. Anyway, we'll get through this 3 hour. We've got 2.5 hours, just over 2.5 hours remaining. I'll probably have a break at the half an hour mark, and so I can rehydrate. This Commander Jim is just getting out of the way of the leading Porsche, but I was just saying he was starting to get a bit closer to Dado, but he's had to check out by the looks of things there. He's lost a little bit of time, which is unfortunate. I can see this GT30 battle lasting throughout this whole race if they keep going as they are. You see, that's the part that Commander Sirius just does not want to be caught behind one, just trying to get out of the Ascari chicane and getting balked and have to come off the throttle. All about momentum for the LMPH drivers. They almost look like they're just going road pace when you see these compared to the LMPHs after they've flown through the Parabolica. The great thing about speed is the passion. It's what we love. Nothing better than actually being trackside, experiencing the speed, the thrills, the smells, the sounds, all that. Only something the motorsport fans can really relate to. Yes, you can see all the TV angles watching on TV and see all the incidents on replay and really review everything, every little incident. But being live, there's just something about it at any motor race. Also get the characters in the crowd. Same as going to a football match of any kind, any code. It's great to see live sport. COVID, unfortunately, has put a damper on a lot of people around the world, but we can always look to the future, and we can have this enjoyment here on our sim racing as well. A lot of us have probably been a lot of people that love to get to motor racing live. and starting to be able to do that in Australia, which is good to see. Dark Racing 40 doing a tremendous job. Oh, so we got someone coming into the pits, I think it was. It was Dark Lord. That's his second pit stop, so either he's got a few issues with his hardware, or maybe a little bit of a tyre glitch. We did hear actually through this man here, Dado Racer, I think it was, at the first round, but had to pit once or twice before his tyres came on. Had a bit of a tyre glitch going on, so he was in the pits a couple of times, and once he finally got that set of tyres he was after, off he went. And where did he end up finishing? I'll just have a look at the results, where he finished at the Hockenheim 10 hour. He finished 4th in class in the GT3, 8th overall. And he was two laps down from the leading GT3 car. But at the same time, he also got the fastest lap, so it just showed that he had the pace once he got those tyres on. After that tyre glitch finally freed himself from his game. So currently, as we know, he's actually on the newest version of the Xbox now, compared to what he was when he raced earlier in the year at the Hockenheim 10 hours, which was a 2-hour race times 5 time progression. So an extra hour this race, drive time, seat time, though it's only the 6 hours, not a 10-hour race. Simulated with only times 2 time progression. So you can imagine that they'll probably pit within the hour. So they're going to have to do a little bit of running in the wet on slick tyres. So the GT3 cars have got a decision to make. Will they pit before the fuel load runs out? Remember, they have to have a mandatory 3 pit stops, so it's wise for them not to try and extend it out, because they're going to have to pit 3 times anyway. They can't. They would be able to do this race in a 2 pit stop strategy. Rules state that they must do 3 pit stops, and the pit stops do not have to include fuel or tyres. So they have to engage the request to pit though, and come in and stop on their pit stop bay. And then once they release, they can go. So they don't have to do anything. They can do a stop and go. As all those Toyota fans are cheering on. They're currently 2nd and 3rd. The championship leader in 3rd, Illogical Sports. Got caught up a little bit early on, if you're just joining us, with an incident with Dark Lord. After he had pole position, Dark Lord, but this happened a little bit later after Dark Lord gave up the position to Dark Racing 40. I think he was running 2nd with Illogical Sports in 3rd. Made a move for 2nd, and it didn't pay off. It was through this part of the circuit here, the Scari chicane from memory. And that's all it was. It's a distant memory now, so they all got to think about now. This is where the time that they're in now, so they got to try and make the most of what's happened, and continue on and make the most of it. Still a long race, as we can see in that countdown. If you can see clearly on the screen, some people can't, depending on the connection, but there's about 2 hours and 27 minutes remaining, so it's a long way to go tonight still. Not only for the drivers, but for myself in the commentary booth on my own tonight. Enjoying this race though. It's been a lot happening. It's been a lot to talk about, as Dark Racing 40 currently leading near the completion of his 22nd lap of this race, making the most of these. There's probably a little bit slick surface now, but earlier on making the most of some quick lap times. And he's just done a 131.522, so he was doing 31.935s in practice, so he's faster than what he was doing in practice, even with this little slick track. So it's just showing he's got tyre temperature, so that's negating the slight damp conditions on the track that is maybe just starting to happen in some areas. This is where it all comes down to the drivers, where they can avoid their mind wandering. Mind starts wandering in these long races. Monza's not an easy track. You think it's an easy track, but it is actually an easy track to have big accidents. That's one thing that you do see. Lapse of judgment, lapse of memory, all that can contribute to some massive big accidents. It ruins your race. So it's a big mental race, this one. That's why I guess everyone wants to always come back at Imola. I mean, not Monza, sorry if I said Imola earlier. He's bridged that gap though. It's taken him probably a good 20 minutes since he made that move on Devil X in that Porsche for second position. And I think he was around about 6 seconds behind Night Havoc or something like that. So now he's bridged that gap and he's got his sights to be leading class before the first hour is up. And that's a sensational effort for Weary Night at the moment. He'll be happy with his performance early on. Night Havoc, the man out in front, is actually the one leading the GT3 Championship with Weary Night second. They both finished first, second in the race at Hockenheim for round one of this ANZCRL Combined Racing League Endurance Series. It's I'm just getting to it now. It is a 5-round series. And we've still got round 3, which is the California Sunset 5 hours. The Team Yost Audi comes on through. And that's round 3 for Saturday, the 10th of July, in 2 months' time. And then on the 18th of September, round 4, the 24-hour of Britain, which is going to be a sensational race. 2 hour, 25 minutes times 10 time progression. The same setup that we use for the Spa 24 hours. And then we have our final round, which is another 3-hour race to end it, is the Catalan 6 hours at the Circuit de Barcelona GP on Sunday the 13th of November. The only time we run on a Sunday night, as these races are long races, so we can get it done on the weekend, on the Saturday night, so the guys can recover. What better way to recover than Mother's Day tomorrow and come away and say that you've just won the 6 hour of Monza in class, which Weary Night is aiming for. This is a championship battle from first and second, actually in the championship, and for their rightful class at the moment. So this is a very interesting part of the race. As the track's starting to get a little bit slick as Weary Night, we can just see now he's just taken the opportunity to turn his windscreen wipers on, as the Audi has as well. So we're going to see these drivers in shortly, maybe for some wet tyres, as the leading Porsche is coming on through with Commander Cirrus has bridged that gap. You can just see how sometimes this traffic and the Porsches now had to back off and look at Commander Cirrus come on through. He has gained a lot of time. He was about 6 seconds behind Darky, and then 4 seconds before he got to the Ascari, and now he's on less than 2 seconds. He's going to try and he's going to have to put himself in the middle here, the Parabolica, but with the downforce he should be able to come down the inside, as he has. And he's gained a bit of time there on Dark Racing, but back to the front of this GT3. We've got a battle obviously on front for the main part of this race, and also for the GT3s, with Night Havoc still in front over Weary Night. As we've just dropped out, we've just had one of the drivers drop out. I'm not too sure who it was. Doesn't show who it was. We've still got the 4 LMPH drivers in. Oh, it was Lolux. Lolux has gone in the Ferrari, so the Tifosi crowd is up in arms. They thinking, well, bugger this, the rain is starting, we are leaving. As the only Ferrari that they were supporting has now been put into the pits, has ended their motor race. Which is very unfortunate for those guys. We may just have a quick look at the timings. So that was around about on lap 22, it looks like, as we got the fastest lap time with Dark Racing. See, the fastest lap time is by Commander Cirrus in that Toyota, 131.180. And in the GT3s, we're looking at Weary Knight with a 48.918. So they're still taking their time, they're still on the track, no one's pitting, the track is not wet enough. As we see there, just in the background, we have this man, Devil X, still very much in contention. He's also got Dado Racer 4 seconds behind him. And he's got also Logical Sports coming on through in the 3rd place LMPH car. One thing the Porsche will have up its sleeve is its ability to have less fuel load come on in its pit stops. Even though they have to have their 3 mandatory stops, he can probably afford just to have a stop and go. And Night Havoc still out in front. This battle's real, guys, even for the championship. As I said earlier, 1st and 2nd on our screen in this race and in the championship. Audi versus Bentley. It's probably a very familiar sound being seen around the world in GT3. So dominant, both these two manufacturers, the Audi and the Bentley, in the last few years. Anyone watching at the moment, if you're on the Twitch channel, give me a message, send me a message, let me know you're here. And yeah, hopefully you're enjoying so far the first part of this race. You're just starting to see it getting a little bit wet now, so won't be long and we will see some more of these cars coming in, probably for their wet tyres. As Commander Cirrus is he's very quick through the Ascari chicane on entry, so it'd be very interesting to see if there's going to be a change in this race, if it's going to happen around the entry into the Ascari or even on the exit and then down this run to the Parabolica. As the Toyota is shown to be very fast through there, so you can see the fuel's getting very low in the Porsche. He's only probably going to have another this lap, may squeeze out 2. Commander Cirrus is definitely going to be in this lap. Oh, I haven't been able to look to see how much fuel they're running per lap. Might be a good time just to have a look, the Toyota. How many litres it's used in a lap. So we started off with 11 runners. We've got 10 at the moment. We've just had Lolux drop out in the lone Ferrari in the GT3 class after only completing 22 laps. So it looks like these cars are going to get probably at least another lap on fuel. As they're coming onto lap Dark Lord again. About 1.9 litres a lap for Toyota. Whereas the Porsche is probably using just a little bit less than that. It's funny though, the two Toyotas have got two different fuel loads, so Logical Sports is still running with just that little bit more. Oh, actually, by the time he crosses the finish line, though, he'll probably have about the same as what Commander Cirrus had, about that 4.7. So, so welcome Nürburgring. So this is the recap so far at the moment. His Nürburgring hasn't been able to make the race. He would have been in the number 1 Porsche, teaming up with Dark Racing 40, who just lapping one of the Commander Tim and Jack, I think it is. But he had a good start off the start line, held it through the first chicane in second position after qualifying second with Dark Lord in pole position. And they stayed like that and until Dark Racing 40 was able to make the move on in the first lap, with Dark Lord then getting on the second lap, I think it was, he was taken out, or we're not too sure if he got taken out. As Commander Cirrus is coming in for his stop. He got in contact with Logical Sports as he was trying to overtake Dark Lord into the Ascari chicane. And that then made, obviously, Dark Lord, he's had a lot of trouble ever since then. He's been in the pits a couple of times. But it's good to see. I'm sure you'll be happy to see your teammate Dark Racing 40 in front. And we're having a big battle here for the GT3s at the moment. We had Night Havoc and Weary Night. Weary Night has bridged the gap over about 20 minutes. He had a 6-second gap to make up, and he's now, as you can see, right on his tail. Weary definitely wants to make this move stick if he can before they come into the pits. Not too sure if this Bentley is thirsty, if it's going to need more fuel than the Audi. You'd think it would. Hope you enjoyed your 40th birthday party too, Nürburgring. They're always good fun, as I said to you. Good way to celebrate with friends. And here we go. Can Night Havoc hold on? He's been doing such a good job so far. Weary Night having a look down the inside, and he looks like he's going to make this stick. Can he pull it up? No, he can't. He's gone straight through the chicane, through the styrofoam, and he comes back out there in second. I was just going to say, before he even hit the brakes, he's doing a great job in the shakedown league on Assetto Corsa. Our friends, we like to give a hi to all those shakedown Xbox races. Puts on a great series on a Tuesday night on Assetto Corsa Competizione Zone. If you're on Xbox, go and have a look at them. Run a GT3 Championship, GT4 Championship, and I think it's the Porsche Cup. And what a great thing that they do. Give us some good sim racing, good fields of different abilities there. There's Darky. Just come out of the pits, and he's made, and Commander Cirrus has leapfrog in the pit stop. Big moment of the race there. We just picked up on there. I didn't actually see Darky going into the pits, but look what this early on. Commander Series pitted that 1 lap earlier. Maybe freed himself away from some traffic. Don't know if Darky got involved in any traffic on his in lap, but that's cost him the lead of the race. So there we go, Commander Cirrus. But the big question is, are they on wets or are they on slicks? You'd say that they would be on wets now, but there's no spray coming off the surface of this track yet. So if they are on wets, they'll be burning them up. They'll be fighting, and we'll know if they are heating them up. If they see any wet parts of the track, they'll be obviously aiming for it to try and cool those tyres down. But that rain now, you can see it's more consistent now. The radar does show some real dark green cloud formations in the radar. There was a bit of light green earlier, but now it's going to dark. But we've not got any yellow or red for those people that know those different colours in the intensity of rain on the radar. And the sun's still shining through, so it's only light rain. We're going to have a few little bit of heavy showers, I reckon. A lot better performance by Commander Cirrus here at Monza after a troublesome race at Hockenheim, where Commander Cirrus came fourth out of the 6. Actually, there was only 5 finishes in the LMPHs. After Nürburgring only got to complete 11 laps, I think, before, I don't know if it was a disconnect or something like that. I think it was. We had some issues that night, though, I remember, at Hockenheim with the lobby. Tonight, it seems like it's a little bit better for most people. The cars have actually, on my screen, have been a lot better. So that should hopefully relay that everything is good on their end. Oh, it's Commander Cirrus, as we said. It's so easy to have a moment, and it can end up in a big accident. He was lucky to keep it off the wall then. If we had a replay ability, we would be able to show how close he would have got to onto the wall on the exit of Ascari then. Not where you want to get. You get on that grass and you will accelerate in these wet conditions and make a meal of your car. That was a moment. There's Commander Cirrus. We're just talking up how he's had a better run. He's coming up now to Dado Racer, currently 4th in the GT3 class. Night Havoc's still in front. And he's actually bridging the gap there on Weary Night. These guys still haven't pitted yet. So it won't be long. They should be coming in. It should be wet enough for these guys to come in. No use running, waiting for their fuel load to run out. Get on those wet tyres. When you get on the roof cam here at the moment, it really doesn't look that wet on the track. So this summer rainstorm, as you can see those clouds starting to look quite threatening there in the distance. But it really doesn't seem to be all that wet on the track, so there's no reason why they should be pitting for wets at the moment. No pulling of water down the inside here of the Parabolica. And Night Havoc's not even veering to the right to go into the pit, so it's a good one to see that there's not much water laying on the surface of this track. Night Havoc's teammate Commander Jim coming on through, maybe to put a lap here on the second of the Bentleys. You can see Tim and Jack. He has had a monster somewhere. That's why he was one in the pits. Dado's in the pits, but he's lost his bonnet as Dado getting his wet tyres on, I'd say. in the K-Pax McLaren. Metal Drive, his teammate, hasn't been able to make the race tonight. It's unfortunate that Metal couldn't make it in the number 9 K-Pax Racing. As they're waiting for the last drops of fuel to go into that McLaren. Well, they put the tyres on. Seems like it goes for eternity to put the fuel in. And there's the fuel in, so the tyres will be going on now, even though the pit crew don't look like they're doing anything. Unless they're umming and ahhing, oh, will we put the wets on? No, will we put the slicks on? No, we don't know. Dado's sitting in there, just put something on, let me out. Let me go. He wants to get back in that battle again. He knows Commander Jim has to pit yet. He'll be back in the thick of it. Here he goes, off he goes. Dado's nickname Cindric. Cindric Dado, off you go. Out of the pits he comes. Clear track. But an LMPH is coming on through. Darky now starting to make roads in. It's the beauty of, you can see the bit of puddles forming up in the sand traps there at the moment, but the track itself with the sunshine still shining. Obviously the heat from the track is evaporating that rain. There's definitely no spray coming from these LMPHs yet. You do normally see some spray when the track gets wet. Oh, you can just see, I think there was a bit of spray as Cirrus came in. Because he made a mistake. Cirrus has made a mistake into the Ascari, and that is now giving the race back to the Porsche. Dark Racing 40 is as easy as that. Has now taken the lead back from Commander Cirrus after he's made a mistake. Now, is that because he only had slick tyres on? Oh, and Darky has now made a mistake. Now, both of these drivers only put slick tyres on when they went for the pit stop. And now the track's getting slicker. Is Commander Cirrus going to stay out? Yes, he is. So maybe it's just a little bit of a overdriving from both the drivers. But is that going to hurt these cars with their aero? I hate to see if that's hurt Dark Racing performance of his car. Not too sure, Nürburgring. It looked like he did clip the wall. Dark Racing 40 will soon see if Commander Cirrus can make it might work. This overtake. Looks it's a little bit sketchy, the cars at the moment, so they are moving around so that it is getting slick on the surface of this Monza track. As they're going past Tim and Jack there in that beat-it up Bentley. So we're almost just past the hour mark in this race with 2 hours remaining. But plenty more to come. These drivers are just going to have to be getting into a zone. This wet weather zone. Mode, I should say. At times it's starting to slow down just a little bit. You can just see they've with full fuel as well. But there again, Commander Cirrus strong under brakes. That Toyota looks like it's got a great braking performance. It's just out of the corners. The Porsche seem to be able to drive away. So a little bit better. Cirrus, I don't know if I think, as we know, we're thinking Dark Racing 40 out in front in the Porsche after he made that move and was able to, or was gifted the lead of the race after Cirrus made a as Dark Racing running wide. But you can definitely see that water spray now starting to happen as Night Havoc, I think, has just gone into the pit, so it'll be interesting to see. He's gone in there. I don't know if it was from the lead of the race. I haven't been watching that because this battle here out front has been very exciting. We don't know if Darky's clipped the wall and he's got some aero damage on that Porsche at the front of his car, or any suspension. If it is, it's on the right hand side. The Commander Cirrus definitely in a... Oh, as he's coming down the inside, you've got to be careful. I know for a fact through there when it gets wet, as they all come in the pit, so they were on slicks, so that was the telling factor. As they both dive into the pits at the same time, they're going to get their wets on. So here they go. We'll see, this should be probably fuel as well. I'm not too sure if they're just going to get... Looks like Cirrus is doing fuel. He's putting it in. So is Dark Racing, 40. They're both putting fuel in and tyres. We should see the Porsche team, if they can get that Porsche out in front of Cirrus. Here he goes. He's out. And he's out in before Cirrus is. So there we go. Dark Racing 40. Still keeps the lead of this race. If he did have damage, it didn't take him anything to repair it, so off they go. With the Logical Sports now out in front. Series leader, did he put the wets on? Or is he running the gauntlet and trying to run out as long as he can on the slicks? Devil X is now take the lead of the motor race after Weary Night is now put into the pit, so we'll see if he comes out in front of Night Havoc, who was leading the race earlier in the GT3 class. So we'll see for Logical. His car seems to be fairly stable at the moment, so he may have elected to put the slicks on. I mean the wets on, I should say. Ooh, maybe not. He's struggling there with that wet exit out of the Nismo 2. Please tell me if that's right. Anyone watching? What are those two corners up the top end of Monza? Is it Nismo or Dismo or something? 1 and 2. And we'll just stay on board of the leader of this motor race at the moment, Logical Sports, and see if he has made the right decision early on just to go on the wets when the track was still dry, or if he's still running on slicks. The way he's going, I would say that he's probably elected to be on the wets when he came in for his mandatory stop. His scheduled stop, I should say. So this has been a super drive by Logical. There's reasons why sometimes these drivers lead the series that they enter in. They do a lot of practice. They have good strategy, especially in endurance mode. It's a different kettle of fish over the short, sharp racing that we've just come out of our series of the British Touring Car Championship, as Weary Night has come out behind Night Havoc again. So effectively Night Havoc is the leader of the motor race. We're waiting for Devil X to come into the pits, and he's struggling on those slicks. He's probably stayed out one lap too long, as he's got to get down to 60 before that line, which he did perfectly. The youngest racer here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League does a tremendous job. Battles it out with these guys that have had probably a bit more years experience on the sim rig setup type games over the controllers. Now everyone on the field here will be on a wheel and pedal setup. As we got Commander Cirrus again following close behind Darky as they weave through this mobile chicane at what is the lead of the GT3 category as well, of Night Havoc and Weary Night, as they're going to come around to take back the lead, with Devil X in the pits in that Porsche, in the BAM Esports Porsche. 911. This race has had everything. As Weary Knight is having a look down the inside of Night Havoc. Can he get this big Bentley to stop in the wet? This is going to be a tough ask. Oh, they're coming side by side, but that's a side glance. Won't affect the cars, as you've also got Dark Lord trying to get through as he can around the outside, which he's done it well with Weary Knight now taking the lead of the GT3 field with an aggressive move into the first chicane. That's a great moment just after past the hour mark. Sensational. I've wanted to go get myself a drink, but I have not been able to go because there's been so much going on. Oh, as Night Havoc has come in very fast. Oh, as Weary Knight made a mistake coming in because Night Havoc absolutely dominated through that second chicane. And retakes the lead in the GT3 class. Doesn't that Bentley sound nice? Why don't we go on board the Bentley as he's following, as we can see him following Night Havoc. And he's got a run on him as well. Down the inside into the Parabolica. We're going to go back on the track side here just to see this, see if you can stick it down the inside, but you've got to be careful with the wet. It can get super slippery on the inside, and that's when the cars end up putting their nose on the inside of the wall. Need to try and keep it up on this high side, which he's been able to do. And there he goes. Back out in front. But as we can see, it takes a lot of effort to pull these Bentleys up. The Audi looks like it's a lot more nimble, a lot lighter. This time he's been able to get away. He should be able to get that power of the drive out. Dark Racing 40, the number 2 Porsche, still second in this race after Illogical Sport has absolutely out-strategized the 2 leading cars early in the race. When they came in for their scheduled pit stop, they went for stay on dry tyres, whereas Illogical took the gamble and put the wets on when the track wasn't wet, but only a few drops of rain. And look at him, 11 seconds in front. And don't forget, he was about 20, 30 seconds behind the leaders. And now what he's got to start thinking about his strategy at pit stops, see if he can try and get these fuel numbers going, and while he's driving at the same time. That's the hardest thing with us sim racers. You don't have a pit crew team or anyone to be able to help you try and put the numbers together and try and get you to save fuel or go hard and all that, and see if you can get one less pit stop, because as we know, the other 2 LMPH cars have actually had 2 pit stops compared to Illogical Sports now. There's no mandatory pit stops, number of stops for the LMPHs. They're going to stop more than 3 times anyway. But can Illogical Sports still stretch this out and still end up making it so he's one less pit stop? Because if he actually makes the same amount of pit stops, you could imagine that Dark Racing and Commander Series, as they are, will probably still effectively take the lead in front of Illogical Sports for the time difference it takes to actually come into the pit lane, take your stop, even if it's a stop and go, which is obviously for the LMPHs they don't need to do. It'll actually be a stop for fuel to get to the end. But if he can time it out so he doesn't have to make that extra pit stop to the others, could have just been a act of genius for him to put those wets on early on. Night Havoc still coming back, as we can see, on Weary Night. And Commander Jim in third. In the second of the Audis, he's got a battle with Dado Racer. The timing there is completely wrong at the moment, but I reckon this is actually a battle for lead because Dado, I'm looking on the leaderboard on the left, sorry, but up the top, as Dado has made that move into third position now after Commander Jim has run wide. So Dado, after getting a little bit in the thick of things early on the race, he's slowly moving his way back up through the field, and he's now in third position. As along comes the Porsche of Dark Racing 40, who's actually put a gap on Commander Cirrus behind him, doing roughly the same times, a little bit slower than the Logical Sports. But again, that's all about traffic. That's what this race is all about. Every 6 laps, the LMPH cars are dealing with GT3 cars. And now that the GT3 cars are all staggered, we've seen them a lot more too. So they're not getting too many clear laps. So 30 seconds down the road, we have Night Havoc. Less than 30 seconds for Dado Racer, as Dark Lord has found himself back in the pits again. Of course, he was low on fuel, so this is a scheduled stop from him. He only had 4 litres left in that Audi. He probably would have been able to get one more lap, but he's come in. Still will pick up some good points for Matty Seeking in this championship, in that number 7. Team Yost's Audi Sport car. So those who are wondering if you're not part of our group at ANZCRL Combined Racing League, you can find us on our website at aus-nzcrl.weebly.com. So that's aus-nzcrl.weebly.com. Go and have a look at that. That's got all our history. Been running since 2016, solely on project cars. Probably dabbled a little bit on the Assetto Corsa, the original game, and we've had some great series, and we've got plenty of series coming up still in 2021. Just about to start actually our team endurance series, which is each car. Or each you got to have a set. We're teaming up with 2 drivers. We run a Saturday, Sunday night, hour and a half each race, all based on one race. It is so the first session is for one of the drivers, and the second driver must race then on the Sunday for the next part of the race. And the results stand from the results from the first session of the race to the second part, and the time actually just continues on as well in game. So. Fairly enjoyable series normally, the Pro-Am team series that we run throughout the year. This year it's LMP3 cars and GT4s for a multi-class series. So that starts on the 29th, 30th of May, so the end of May. Entries open this Monday, 10th of May. So head over on the website, have a look for all the information. We've also got our YouTube channel where all our races, and this race will be archived at ANZ Combined Racing League on YouTube. And an Instagram channel as well, ANZCRL, and on Facebook groups ANZCRL as well. answer the 3 questions that we request you to be able to join the group. If you don't answer those questions, there is no coming into the group. We're solely here for Australian New Zealand races only, to keep the ping rates low and the enjoyment factor there. And it's a good time friendly zone for most of us. Obviously New Zealand, it's a bit later in the night for them. Night Havoc still chasing down. They both sort of running wide. Still waiting for someone to tell me in our Twitch channel what those 2 corners are. Nismo 1 and 2, I think they might be called. If they are, just give a thumbs up or give me something. I'm not too sure how it's pronounced or what they're called. Call me lazy, I can probably just look up and Google the track online. But a bit of crowd participation is always good as well. So that's the Ascari chicane, we know. Look at that rain falling. As he's having a look down the outside, Night Havoc. And Weary Night, he's had to let him go on through. But he's fighting back down the inside of the Parabolica. Can he get the drive that he needs? Massive drag race for the lead of this race in the GT3 class, as the Logical Sports is still out front in the Toyota Gazoo racing team. As Weary just shows it outside, shows the nose, down the inside I should say. And Night Havoc's having none of it, didn't even flinch. Great driving by Night Havoc, he has had his hands full for this whole race. We're getting close to the halfway point. You just hear the tyres washing a little bit off coming into that corner. A lot of that water starting to still lay on this surface of this track. The rain does not even look like it's letting off yet. Even on the radar, there's still a lot of evidence of rain on the radar all around Monza, all around this area of Italy. Look, as we say, look at those speakers there, all on the back, on the left hand of the circuit up high. Very good run, but Dado Racer, he's slowly catching him too. He's about 30 seconds behind, and now he's bridged that down. He's closed that down to 24 and a half. It plays around the time depending where they are on the track a little bit, but he's definitely catching them slowly. And with still over an hour 40 remaining, don't count this man out in the K-Max McLaren Dado Racer. Cindric Dado, old man. The old man down the road. Very ultra competitive Dado, as Logical Sports comes on through to put another lap on him. Having a great run. He's extending that lead to Dark Racing 42, so unbelievable run by Illogical after misfortunes early on in the race with him and Dark Lord. Getting tangled up and coming out of Ascari. We only just seen the end of the incident. We did not see the start of it, so we don't know if it was a mistake by someone or someone trying to avoid one other car, which caused everything to happen. But definitely Illogical and Dark Lord did come into contact with one another. But a stroke of genius call by the Team Gazoo Racing, where they had nothing to lose, just said, hey, Illogical, your schedule stopped, you're getting wets on, even when the track was just wasn't even slick. It was raining, but the track hadn't even got wet yet. Where the leading two cars, Dark Racing 40 and Commander Series, both came in. The Porsche and then the second of the Toyotas came in and kept their slicks on. And only got to manage probably another 10 laps, if that, before that to come in and put the wets on. Absolutely brilliant drive by Illogical at the moment. Currently leading this race and the championship. Power of that Toyota, just lighten up those rear tyres. Devil X in the Porsche, early contender. Now a lap down on the leading GT3 class. The wet has not been kind to him. He was actually qualified second in the wet qualifying session. So as we said earlier too, his raw pace is Devil X, but this endurance is another test in his learning. And he's still doing some, he's just had an incident just recently because it was a 2-minute last lap. And see what he does this time around, if it's back into the 155s or so. Hasn't come up too obviously either. Sorry about that if that went off mildly. I pressed the wrong button, but could have just been that he's just having a few little incidents or a bit of damaged car and he can't get that time in. As you can see, he was in the best of a 149.136 in the dry. Very ultra competitive there, third fastest time by the looks of things. But yeah, definitely he's a lap down on the leaders, depending where they are on the track. So he's a lap or 2 laps down. And then all the same time, Tim and Jack, who had some incidents earlier on. Oh, as we can see, one of the LMPHs, the one of Dark Lord. Who would have thought what the front of one of them looked like without the bodywork? There you can see. And right inside there, it's not going to be good for Dark Lord. As Commander Cirrus comes up alongside, I thought he was going to try and make a move in there, but he might just wait for a bit. He's still chasing down Dark Racing 40. We don't know, depending on pit stops between both these pair of Dark Racing 40, Commander Cirrus and Illogical Sports. Illogical Sports currently has only made 1 pit stop compared to 2 from Commander Cirrus and Dark Racing 40. Who's just roughly 3 seconds up the road from Commander Cirrus in second. You can't really make any inroads on Dark Lord. So Dark Lord's actually showing some pace with this damaged Audi. Who needs front aero, they say. He's absolutely flying. Bit of modification on the Team Yost car crew. Just tell him just to throw it into the wall, take the front aero off, and look at that, it's 35.448, still slower than everyone else. Commander Cirrus just finding it difficult to try and make a move on him. Obviously wants to make a clean move because he's still well and truly in the contention to win this motor race. So again, weary night. I don't know if I keep forgetting how many times that these guys might be swapping and changing the lead, but it's been a few now. Keeping themselves entertained through the first part of this race. Now they've got to do it all over again still. Another hour and a half, or 1 hour 35 remaining. Still a long way to go. This is what some people really love doing too, this endurance aspect of motor racing as well. Test of stamina. Oh, it's Weary Night is just absolutely... Oh, I would have to think that he's probably slowed down for a time penalty or something there. There's no other reason why that would have happened. So they can already tell that they don't want to rack up time penalties, because they can see if this keeps panning out the way it is for the next hour and a half or so, they're going to still finish probably so close like this, and any penalty, even if a second or 2 seconds, could cost them all this hard effort over the 3-hour race. So as they were doing in the British Touring Cars Championship that we've just ended here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League last weekend, most of the drivers did not even worry about time penalties. They just kept their foot flat to the floor and didn't even try and shake them off, because they were short 15-minute type races, and yes, it cost them some positions every now and then. It was sometimes, though, the battling was so close, and a second penalty that sometimes gave you probably have to lose 2 or 3 seconds just to wipe off that second penalty if you didn't want to have the second penalty as the game sometimes makes you have to slow down quite a lot to try and get rid of those penalties. So it was better just to cop it on the chin and just hope it was only a second and not a 2 or 3 second, or sometimes 4 that some people got in one hit. Especially at Knock Hill. Well, what a round that was for everyone. The final round of the British Touring Car Championship. Basically it was a race that you gain positions if you could be a person that was on the better side of the time penalties. But to this race here, they started off with heavy cloud. We've got this rain still falling. It doesn't look like it's going to let off anytime soon still. Oh, as Weary Night has come into the pits. Just something's not right for his car at the moment. He's chosen to come in. Is this his just a stop and go? He's to make it the mandatory 3 stops, or is he putting on new tyres and fuel? Looks like he's topping up his fuel. It wasn't for too much though. So this is actually a strategic stop, I'd say, because he is. He's short-fueled the car, so he's put enough fuel. He knows how much fuel he's going to need to burn throughout this race, so he's probably put enough to get him to the end of the race now. And the next stop that he's going to do will either be a short fuel or just a stop and go. And obviously with tyres, he's got to pit again, so he might be just using this time now just to go off, and when the rain stops and the track starts to dry off, he'll come in for his third and final stop for slicks and top up the tank to the right amount that he needs to get to the finish. And Night Africa has to press on now, unless he's going to try and make, if he's got any thought of pitting as well as for strategy, and doing the similar to what Weary Night has done. He's been able to get out in front of Dado, only just. As we got one of the Porsches coming on through as well. Watch the speed difference here. Boom. Down the outside, thank you very much. As Dado's having a little look dive down the inside. And that's upsettled Weary. He's been able to hold on to it through Ascari. What a great view this is, seeing the cars as they come out of Ascari in the background and the battle up front here. This is for second position of the GT3 class. After Riri Knight has made his second, has made 2 of his scheduled mandatory 3 pit stops. Oh, this is what Cirrus wants to see, the battle of the GT3s in front of him when he's trying to chase down Darky. That's going to hurt. As he's going to get that power on now, he should just drive around the outside. Oh, he's got to stick to the track there. Oh, he's holding on for grim life. Oh, that was close by Cirrus. I thought he was going to be on the outside. You don't want to be touching the grass with it wet, especially with the pace these cars are going. I don't know if the rain looks like it's actually easing off in some sections here. No, it's still heavy there. It's probably just from the view looking into the trees. Made it look like it was easing off. The guys are doing such a good job here at the moment. Been racing for an hour and a half. Started off dry into the rain. The radar's showing glimpses of this rain band just starting to push on through. So I think we've still got a little bit of time that these guys have to put up with this rain. One thing the radar doesn't show though is what's going to be showing. Is it going to be sunny skies? It's still sunny out there. Looks like with these sunny showers, or the clouds going to be coming over. Only 10 cars on the track. Started with 11. Dropped Lolux early on the sole Ferrari for the Tifosi crew fans. They weren't happy to see him drop out on lap 22. That was 22 of the GT3 class, not of the leaders. I don't know what the leaders were on at the time. So the big talk point of probably hour 2 at the moment has been what Illogical Sport's been able to do by doing a magical call, or was a great call by his team to just put on the wet sail, saying he wanted the slicks, he wanted to follow both Dark Racing 40 and Commander Cirrus and run with the slicks. So we've got nothing to lose, you're 20 seconds behind and let's put the wets on, the rain's going to get heavier. So he whacked them on, ran them where the track was still basically semi-dry, just slick a little bit. He didn't know how soon the track was actually going. There was no spray coming off the cars. The tyres were heating up. He was burning those slicks up. I mean those wet tyres up. And then when the rain really came in, settled, and this water spray started kicking up off the track, both Dark Racing 40 and Commander Cirrus had to come in. They were nose to tail in the pits to put on their wet tyres from the slicks. It was just too wet for them. Illogical Sports came on through and has held this. Well, he's actually was 10 seconds in front, and he extended that out to around about 18. And now Dark Racing 40 is coming back at him. He's so basically Dark Racing 40, Commander Cirrus, the two in the contention for this race, has had one extra pit stop to Illogical. So that's the question for the next hour and a half. Can Illogical still keep that one less pit stop for the remainder of the race? He's going to obviously have to pit again, and then, well, history says he'd probably have to pit another time, but what are the other two guys going to do? Are they going to stretch it out to only one more pit stop? And then that'll make them both on the same number of 4 pit stops. Or 3 pit stops, sorry. So if Illogical could get away, he won't get away with 2 actually, just thinking about it. He's definitely going to have to pit for 3 pit stops, so it'll be it'll be how less time he has to pit for the third stop compared to the other two LMPHs. I think they should be able to extend to 3. They may have to do a stop and go though, like a splash and go, to make 4 pit stops. So Logical could well and truly still stay in contention. Well, we can't dismiss him when he's leading the race right at this stage. He's probably got another 3 laps, probably 3 laps. Actually, no, 4 laps to go. 3 laps to go before he pits. Burning about 1.9 litres a lap, the Toyotas. So we should see him in the pits on around lap 62, 63. And we're watching Illogical Sports, the series leader at the moment in the ANZCRL Endurance LMPH Championship. Or it's the Endurance Championship, but it's for the LMPH division. Over Matty Seeking, who's not in tonight, but he's got Dark Lord running for him. And we saw him earlier without that nose cone. He's still running without that nose, the front end of his car, costing him time. It was only the 4 of the LMPHs that started. Dark Lord had pole, got tangled up on a second lap incident. And struggled ever since. He's shown some little moments there where he's been consistent, but a few errors have popped in here and there. As Dado Racer still challenging here on Weary Night. After Weary came in, we think it might be a strategic move that they did. He came in after battling, or was in. He was always second. He just gave up the lead actually to Night Havoc, and he came in for pits. He was only in there for a short while. He only had basically splash and dash. He didn't do much. I don't know if he put tyres on or not, but he definitely put a bit of fuel in. So I think that's to get him through to the end. So then he's only got to do one more big pit stop when it dries up for his slick tyres. That's if this track dries up too. So there's a lot of questions still to be answered as Illogical Sports. I think that might have been, I don't know if that was Illogical Sports or if that was Commander Cirrus actually. No, it was Illogical Sports in the number 6 Toyota. So I just might leave this on this battle while I quickly have a commercial pit stop, you could say. So I will back shortly and enjoy this little battle for 3rd position. Actually, this is for 2nd position, I should say, of the GT3 division. Dado over Weary Night. Bentley versus McLaren. Okay, welcome back. So during our break, we've obviously seen the Logical Sports come in for his pit stop, getting low on fuel. He would have actually had to put wets on. Very wet, the rain's still falling there, but the track's not going to dry anytime soon. There's still plenty of racing to go with this wet track. 1 hour 18 remaining. At Dark Racing 40 has regained the lead of the race with a nice 18-second buffer to Commander Cirrus, which is now the leading Toyota Gazoo Racing, but their fuel load is starting to drop low again. So they're going to have to pit. And the track's going to be still too wet by the time they pit in. See on the radar, I said earlier that the rain is definitely looking like it's going to ease shortly. The weather, it's only a light green. The dark green has gone past Monza now. We've only got a light green patch on the radar. But this track will take quite a number of laps to dry out. Oh, as who was that went into the pits? I think that was Dark Lord that came into the pits. Another unscheduled stop. As Commander Cirrus is, that 20 seconds with the Logical Sports further, about 26 seconds or so down the road from Commander Cirrus. But his tanks are full, new, fresh, wet tyres on, and ready to make the chase and see if he can get back in front. And hopefully the weather just plays out for him, that he can just work that spot perfectly for the tyre change. As there's plenty going on just in front of him, as it's basically Weary Night, Dado Racer, and it looks like Dark Lord who came out of the pits. Oh no, that's Illogical Sports into the wall. He's going to have some damage now to his front aero, so his chances of winning this race has just taken a massive blow. Oh, it's something's going wrong. The track has become slick. When Dark Lord's come out, he hasn't dropped a whole lot of oil because Dado Racer has found himself in the inside barrier as well. Chasing down Weary Night now. So Dado, after all that hard work, that's the disappointment for the McLaren team. Working so hard to get that second position. Found himself in the wall. Devil X in that Porsche. Back into the 55s. Starting to find his mojo again. Oh, Logical will be kicking himself. Looks like he's coming into the pits for that repair. Wise move, you're going to lose too much time if you don't. But that's going to obviously now give Dark Racing 40 Commander Cirrus a breath of fresh air. They can now battle it for the race win. They can almost say, if everything turns out as it should, Logical will probably stay third on this on the podium. But the battle for first is still there with Dark Racing 40 and Commander Cirrus. Even though Cirrus is 20 seconds off, we know that he's got that pace. Traffic can play a big part of reducing that gap. Oh, and this sort of thing that happens is very costly. So are these wet tyres just starting to go off as well? The track's obviously getting wetter. We've had plenty of rain. We've had a good rain for just under an hour now. Took a while for the track to start getting really slick, but you can see the water spray. It's been getting worse. Oh, it's up in front. I think it was maybe Commander Jim, one of these cars got sideways. So they're all finding it hard. Getting a little bit doughy. I'm a bit doughy even in the commentary, and I've only been sitting here doing nothing really, just talking. Getting late in the night as well here in Australia on the eastern side. 9:30. This race is due to finish about quarter to 11. So still a long way to go. Tim and Jack came in as a to help out in the P51 Sim Sports Bentley. Showed some good pace early on, but has a few little mistakes. Obviously not accustomed to it too well. But even so, doing a great job with that car still rotating. That's the main thing in these endurance racing. Experience the challenge. Even when things are going wrong, if you can then get the car back to a reasonable condition and keep motoring around, there's still fun to be had. Anything can happen. We've seen that. We see it happen all the time. Set yourself little challenges when you're in this sort of predicament as Tim and Jack are in. Maybe it might be just to get a particular corner a little bit better than what you have been, or just get some nice average lap times happening, consistent lap times. So many little things that you can do to motivate you to keep going. Oh, he's had some major issue with his hardware, either a control, like something disconnecting, or is it a lag spot? Dado, Weary Night coming into the pit. Sometimes you get a little bit of a lag freeze as well when it happens in game, especially as it gets later and later. And Tim and Jack may have just happened to him, as he's got to be careful as one of the LMPHs is coming flying down, and that car is not being able to travel straight at all. He's struggling. It's crabbing very badly, so he'll be in the pits. Unfortunate to see that. The Bentley crew are going to be releasing Weary Night, and then off again will Tim and Jack. Maybe they're having some tyre issues, because this is another stop by Weary Night. And it looks like there's some bit of damage there at the front of his car too. So I wonder if he's had a little bit of an off. See, so that's now promoted Commander Jim, teammate to Night Havoc, into third position, and Dado into second. So obviously we're going to have to find out post-race what has gone on, as Dark Racing 40 is into the pits. Only 0.6 of a litre of fuel left in that Porsche. He has timed that to the bare minimum of that fuel. 0.5 of a litre as he's pulled up onto the blocks. So that'll give Commander Cirrus. Oh, he'll be in the pits as well this lap. They both followed one another in earlier when they had to pit for the wet tyres. There was a lap difference earlier on when Dark Racing 40 went an extra lap after being in front, but Commander Cirrus came out in front of Darky, as Darky's now leaving the pits with a hovercraft Porsche. This gives the logical a little bit of go-to, knowing that was all scheduled for those drivers. just brings him back into something that may just happen to his favour. You don't know. You can see a bit of a line happening there from the cars. So the rain's definitely starting to ease right off now. Oh, it's weary night, absolutely smashing the curbs on the exit of the Ascari chicane in the Bentley. Logical Sports now, here he comes on down through and passes Dark Lord. I mean, not Dark Lord, Night Havoc I should say. The leader of the GT3 field. 40 litres of fuel still in this Audi. Just hear one of the Bentleys behind him. But we got Dado Racer 40 seconds behind in second position. It's been a tremendous race so far though. There's been so much going on for the first 2 hours of this race. We've got 1 hour, or not even, we've got an hour 7 remaining. So just under 2 hours have already been run. We're on lap 71. With the rain slowly, but still tantalising, just still falling. They just want to get it out of here. It's just, they want this dry weather to start coming through so the track can just start to dry up. We'll be loving to get onto those slicks, but they got to remember if they find themselves offline or on that grass, it's still gonna be wet out there. It's not going to be friendly to them if they're on slicks at all. Even around here on the outside, they don't want to be out off the track here. It'll be wet as on slicks. As Night Havoc's coming in for a pit stop, look, I reckon he's coming to put slicks on. As there's definitely a dry and line happening. This spray has come away from the tyres now. Will Dado take the opportunity to follow on through, or is he going to stay out? As Commander Jimmy's teammates in the pits further back. Dado just having one of the sees that the Team Yoast of Dark Lord coming on through. Will Dado be taking, he has to come in a bit. He's only got 0.7 of a litre of fuel left. He's got just under, he's only just making it into the pits. Squeezing every little bit out of that fuel tank of the McLaren. So it looks like on that there, slicks is still going back on, but don't take that from the games just because there was already, not slicks, wet slicks going back on, but I'd say that maybe they might take the opportunity to put on slicks here. It'll be interesting to see how Night Havoc goes. Coming out of pits on the slicks, I think. He's still got the wipers on, so there's obviously still some rain falling. Feathering the throttle, slowly putting it on, coming out of the chicane. Oh look, there's still some spray there coming up into the second chicane. There's a lot of water still on the track, so I reckon they'd still have wets on. Crazy to have slicks on here in these conditions. Been a strong performance by Night Havoc. Class of his own. Haven't seen him put a foot wrong. The only times he probably would have where he's maybe just saying that the commentator's curse. There you go. Around the parabolica, he's looped it. Sorry about that, Night Havoc, but these things happen sometimes, but maybe that's just to keep it a bit entertaining as Weary Night 20 seconds behind. Both of these guys have got their tanks full of fuel. That'll get them to the end. The long downs comes Dado Racer as well. So Dado's still trying to chase down Weary Night after his pit stop. Back at it again for the second spot on the podium, the battle. That's Tim and Chak behind him in 10th position, a couple of laps down. In the number 87 P51 Sim Sports Bentley. He'd be happy with his running at the moment. Dado, he made one little mistake we've seen earlier. Was Tim and Jack again. He's having a fight in his wheel. He's definitely having some sort of issue with hardware, I was thinking. As Commander Cirrus in that number 5 Toyota Gazoo Racing, losing more time to Darky by hitting these GT3s at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. What a solid showing by Dado though. The old statesman of the group. We've seen a few little slip-ups here by Dark Racing 40, but generally he's had a terrific race all round. And since his last pit stop, you can see there's no water coming off those tyres because he's hovering off the ground. That's a bonus. We'll come back to this battle because Dado's ever so slightly catching Weary Night is within a second now. The Logical Sports weaving his magic. Could see him move for second position here for the GT3 class very shortly. Pretty sure that they've all made their mandatory 3 pit stops. Or they might have to do one more. I know Weary Night, I think, has done them all. He's done his 3. All this Dado's having a look down the inside. There he goes. I think by Weary giving that to him fairly easy, I think Dado may need one extra to do. He's still got another stop to make. That's a nice move though by Dado down the inside of the Parabolica, and he's just got to hold off this Bentley under brakes. He should be able to do that. The rain's all but gone, so we know that they're going to have to stop. So Dado, they're all going to have to stop actually because they're on wet tyres. So Dado's got the fuel, so all he's going to have to do is make that stop to get the slicks on. So theoretically, he's in a very good position at the moment. Who's going to blink first and put those slicks on? We've seen that there's some areas where there's still a bit of water that comes off the surface of this track. It was through there, but there's only a little bit there. You've seen Dado just running a little bit wide. You saw a little bit flick up from his tyres, but not much. So I reckon it'll be almost time that we start seeing some of these guys will show their hand and have the stop for their for their slick tyres. As Weary Knight struggling big time with his car. So his wets are well and truly overheating at the moment in these conditions. Drying track. So will we see Dado in for slicks, or will Weary make that move and see if he can make the undercut? Dado's staying out, but it'd be interesting to see if Weary comes into the pits. No, he's staying out. Here comes Dark Racing 40 to start his 78th lap. He's currently third in the championship. So Commander Spirits in a Logical Sports. I don't know what's happened here with Commander Spirits, but he's dropping back. And Devil X is in the pits. I'd say that would be already for fuel, and also I'd say for slick tyres. The run home to the flag. So Logical is now moved into second after, I'd say, Commander Osiris, he was dropping, as you can still see a little bit of water down the inside of that previous corner. And maybe just a little bit too wet to risk it, especially for these LMPH cars. Again, Tim and Jack trying to get to the end of this race. It's still a long way to go, and that car has just been trouble after trouble for it. It's a shame. Sometimes what it is just a hardware issue, or it could be the console. Sometimes with these bigger grids, but normally we run with 12, so most of the time, and not too much of an issue. So Logical Sports has 30 litres of fuel and Dark Racing has 42. So this final pit stop that they're both going to have to make it's going to be in the favour of Dark Racing 40 because he's not going to have to put in as much fuel. So the Porsche team have done a sensational job here at Monza. But we won't be going down that path too much at the moment. We're still over 50 minutes remaining. And Night Havoc, he's fueled up. Dado Racer, you'd say he's got enough fuel to get to the end. Touch and go, but it should be right. Weary Night, he'll have enough. 100 litres. Commander Jim just got under the 100 litres. He'll be right. Devil X missing his braking point. Coming on through. He's got 95 litres, so he'll be right. Tim and Jack coming out of the pits. Hopefully this time, whatever's been his issue is been sorted. He's full up, ready to go to the end as well. Dark Racing 40, still in the hovercraft mode in this Porsche. Makes it look so easy. They're constantly on the curves button. Get the most out of it that they can. Regenerates every time that they brake, especially with the hard brake applications that they need to do around Monza. The boost pressure that they get will be absolutely phenomenal. Be a great feeling. Dark Racing 40's just come away from being crowned the British Touring Car Championship in the Pro Division. Moved into the LMPH car in the Porsche. It was fairly strong in practice and just got pipped for pole. I think it was by he was second. I think it was. Over Dark Lord. So Commander Cirrus is still dropping back from Logical Sports. So obviously something's going wrong there. After he was showing the same sort of paces as Darky. What these guys will be waiting before they come in for their slick tyres, if they're still running on their wets, will be the fuel window. So that's going to be, I think that was around 42 minutes remaining, something like that. So they'll be out for another another 3 laps before we should start seeing activity in the pits again. Oh, what a long race this has been. was Cirrus making another little mistake. Those tyres are starting to probably chunk up, the wet tyres. You can still see how wet it is on the outside though, on the sand traps and all that sort of stuff, so they definitely do not want to be venturing off the track. Definitely see where it's drying up as well, on track. There's Dado Racer, second in the GT3 division. Almost evenly split from first to third. About 20 seconds between the two of them. Finished just out off the podium last time round at Hockenheim, where he finished fourth. Commander Cirrus is in the pits, so that'll be a full tank on the slick tyres, and he may have to do a bit of fuel conserving to get to the end. It's going to be close. The man that had pole, Dark Lord, getting near the end of his fuel run. Oh, you can see the inside part of that, the parabolic there. You've seen quite a bit of water come off the tyres there. But he's picking up his pace there, matching that lap there. He was slower, but it's all about them. He might be getting tired, not hitting the curves button like he should be. Forgetting to press it every now and then, that can happen. But it'd be interesting to see what Commander Cirrus's next lap is going to be like. Because he'll be on the slicks now. This is his out lap. So he might just stay with Cirrus just to see what type of lap time we can see from him. And the next time round. See if he can get back down into the 31s. The Logical's doing 32.6 with the wet tyre. That's a healthy time. So that was his out lap 142, but here we go for his first full-time lap. His tyres will be also up to temperature into the pressure zone as well. This car looking very nice. Obviously something happened there around 15-20 minutes ago with his car. Something happened where he surrendered a lead of around about 20 odd seconds, or not lead, or he's in front of a Logical Sports, his teammate, who was third. To have a Logical come through. Devil X just gets out of the way. The first Commander Cirrus to continue on. It could be just for his trying to get his battle to get back into second as well, which he's not out of. The Logical still needed to pit for fuel and tyres. So here we go. This is a moment of truth to see if he's got back. And he's 32.6. There might be some sections of the track where they're still a little bit slippery, a bit slick. Yeah, you can just see there on the inside there was a little bit come out of his rear of his car. Missed his spray. He's probably just feeling his way around before he tries to push it that little bit harder. As we know, on slick tyres, once you get off that track onto that grass, you're going to slide for a long way. We've just been asked from one of the viewers the difference of the time between the lead of the GT3, and it's right there now. 21 seconds is the difference from Night Havoc and Dado Racer, with 42 minutes remaining. And Weary Night has dropped a ton of time to Dado after he was actually running right nose to tail with Night Havoc for the majority of this race. All of a sudden he's gone backwards, as a few of the guys have done that later in this race. As fatigue starting to set in. Night Havoc's controlled this race so well in the GT3, as has Dark Racing 40 in the LMPH division in the Porsche. Just seen the race it could have been also for this man, Devil X. He's also doing 49s. Previous lap. Obviously a few little mistakes. Got caught up with a few little things here and there. Still motoring around in 9th. Getting a lot of valuable experience in these long races. Not often do we do 3-hour races here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. Yeah, that's in one stint, that's for sure. Majority of them are an hour and a half. But this name says it all, this endurance side series that we're running, where 2 hours is the normal name of the game. And we're going to have one more 3-hour race throughout the series. And that 3-hour race will be at for the Catalan 6 hours. It's at Barcelona. Next on the calendar though, we go to beautiful California for the Sunset 5-hour, which will be a 2-hour 30-minute race by 2 time progression. So that'll be on Saturday the 10th of July in 2 months' time. Devil's still in those 49.8s. He's the 3rd fastest on the track in the GT3 field. I believe he was 2nd on the grid. Not getting too much longer, then we'll see a logical come in for the splash and dash. as the LMPH has come on through past the McLaren. They whiz by and they're also late on the brakes. Oh, maybe a bit too late for Logical Sports. Maybe he could just let Dark Lord go on through. Dark Lord a number of laps down on these guys. The Logical Sports doing everything he needs to do. The championship leader coming into round 2 after taking a great victory at the Hockenheim 10 hours. Winning by a lap over the Audi Team Yost car of Matty Seeking, who Dark Lord 78 is piloting tonight, who is 4th. The man we're talking about, just to maybe if Logical, he seems to be gapping him now though. As one beaten up, is Dark Lord having a hard time of it out of the first chicane. Yeah, just changing the gears so quick in these things, paddle shifts. So Darky has still got quite a little bit of running time on these tyres. Logical getting close to his time to come in for his fuel to get to the end. Shadow slowly bridging it. He's getting it under 20 seconds, the gap. With them both needing just to pit once more to get their compulsory 3 stops. Both Night Havoc and Dado. Weary Night, not 100% sure. He's had his 3 stops, so he should be right. It's just a matter of if he's going to run the rest of the race on these. I think he's still on wets. I'm not 100% sure, but I look at those lap times doing 53s. He's been a little bit quicker than that, but he hasn't been running the 49s like both Night Havoc and Dado Racer. As has also Devil X. He's just dropped it back into the 50s in that Porsche, the BAM Esports car. Still getting a good run with 10 cars at the moment. We had 10 cars finish at the Hockenheim race. After Devil X unfortunately disconnected right near at the end of the... we had 41 laps, so there was still a lot more, about 20 odd laps remaining for the GT3 class anyway. The GT3 class did end up with 70 laps. So it was still another 29 laps remaining. But tonight here at Monza, he's still rotating there in 5th position at the moment. Oh, and talk about rotating. He's doing a little bit more than rotating around there at the first chicane. Round comes Cirrus on the grass. Did he hold on to that? Yes, he did. Darky's getting a time there. Almost he gets a free pit stop as well, especially when they're not going to be sitting there for too long. So Logical is going to be needing to pit very shortly for his fuel. So we've only got 2 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Both this man here, Logical Sports in the Toyota, and the Porsche of Dark Racing 40. We're just seeing if a Logical Sports taking this time to come into the pits. No, he's going to go around again. He can actually afford probably another 2 laps. This one and the next one. Nice looking motor car, this Toyota Gazoo Racing LMPH car. In the hands of a Logical Sports. Anyone that saw his drive a couple of months ago at the first round at Hockenheim would say that he's definitely won with this car. He's actually absolutely dominant, other than his fastest lap, which went to Matty Seeking back at Hockenheim. As this game time here at the moment is roughly around about 4 p.m. in game time, scheduled to finish at 5 local time. So with half an hour to go, with the ×2 time progression, pretty easy maths that one. We'll just have a look to see who's got the fastest lap of these LMP H cars. You get one bonus point for the fastest lap, I believe it is. So it looks like that one's going to be going to Commander Cirrus at the moment for the LMPHs with a 31.180. And then the GT3 class, we're looking at Weary Knight with a 48.918 currently. Don't press the quit button. Not at this stage. Only just after we've run for 2.5 hours. That's the one thing that a tired commentator would want to do as a Logical Sports is now into the pits. And this is just going to be a quick fuel stop, and we'll obviously see some tyres go onto that. Up she goes for the tyres. You can see sometimes the animation works, other times it doesn't. It's the first time I've actually seen it happen, and it looks really good when it does work. There you go. So off goes the Logical Sports. once he gets going. We know now that Dark Racing 40, he's going to be able to come in and pit freely whenever he wants. Once that time settles down, we'll just get a true gauge to see what the gap is. So it's around about 1 minute 40 or so. As Night Havoc's just extended that lead to Dado Racer by about 2 seconds. That's about 22 seconds now. As Commander Cirrus comes on through. Just looking outside of these overcast skies, I would put my money on maybe just another little bit of a sprinkling of rain or something happening. So could this play in the hands of Dark Racing 40 if it does start raining to really dominate this victory, this run? He's a lap in front at the moment over Logical Sports. He's still got a pit again. So you can actually start seeing there's a few little drops happening on our screens. Good possibility the tracks could get wet fairly quickly with this afternoon skies as well. The temperatures dropped a little bit with this wet weather that we've had. The temperatures out of the track. Not something that they wanted to see to finish this race with some more rain after having to endure an hour of that early on. So this 3-hour motor race. ×2 progression. We started at 11 AM local time and to finish at 5 PM for the 6 hour of Monza. We had a lot of action there for the first hour and a half, especially in the GT3 field between Night Havoc and Weary Night, where they were running nose and tail for most of that part of that race. After Weary bridged that gap, he had about a 6-second gap to bridge first. Once he did that, they swapped and changed the lead a number of times. And we had the same thing happen as well between Dark Racing, the man we're watching here at the moment, and Dado. Oh, just getting balked. Dado, not too sure. These drivers, if you've seen the British Touring Car Championship, had a little bit of history together. Nothing bad, but they were fighting for the championship right through to the end, with Dark Racing 40 prevailing to become the British Touring Car Championship of 2021 here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. This man came second. Currently second in the GT3 class. And he's actually bridged that gap to Night Havoc now to 15. So Night Havoc might have had an incident. And maybe a spin. Oh, there's a spin in front of him, Tim and Jack. that Bentley. So could this be something that Dado Racer wants to see? A little bit of slickness on the track. I did see Dado very strong in that wet period. 23 minutes remaining. He'll be hoping the most that he can try and bridge his gap and take an unlikely victory, I would say, early in the race after he came into some trouble. Night Havoc's been a man that's been pretty much, without seeing too many mistakes. I did put the commentator's curse on him earlier. Try not to do anything now because he's basically had a great run and fully deserves this victory if he can come home, and if he can hold off Dado, who seems to be closing that gap quite considerably. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's around about 16 seconds at the moment. We might come back to this in a little while. They're all good for fuel. Dado's going to be touch and go. He's should be right, but he's been chewing his fuel up on the chase of Night Havoc. He's got time up his sleeve to have a quick pit stop and get out in front of Weary Night, still and hold on to second. But right at this moment in the McLaren team, all they're thinking about is seeing if he can keep going. He's getting that gap down on Night Havoc, lap after lap. So it's down now around about 14 seconds as this rain's starting to fall, as the track starts to become slick. Darky's still holding that 1 minute 40 or so second in front of Illogical Sports, a lap in front. He's going to come in this lap. As there's just a car in front of him in two. That would be Weary Night. And in they come. In comes Darky. And we've got the see-through crew working hard, as we do with Weary Night. As Darky off he goes, all it was fuel. He's still got the same tyres. They didn't even change tyres, so if they were wets, but he still stayed on the wets. He seems to be hovering even higher now. As here we got three LMPHs all in one shot, but they're all a number of laps down. Oh, Dark had to be careful moving over there. He could have definitely got in the way of Dark Lord in his braking moment. Tagged the back of Darky, but he was lucky then, got away with that. Plenty of action happening up here in front of Dado. I should say behind Dado. So we've got these, Dado's got his windscreen wipers on again. He has got a time penalty, but he's got that gap now to 13 seconds to Night Havoc. So the rate he's been catching in, there's definitely this race on between these two, between the Audi and the McLaren. That spin earlier that Dado had, well, you also did see a spin by Night Havoc, but those few little mistakes that came in when Dado took it down the inside and spun it there at the Parabolica when he was chasing down Weary Night, that may have cost him quite a bit of time. He's got to deal with what he's got now. And that's a pretty strong McLaren under him, I think, at the moment in these conditions. He'll be a happy man at the moment. Try not to overdrive the car. Try and keep doing what he's doing, because whatever he's doing, he's actually catching Night Havoc in front. Big question, will he have enough time? At this rate, he's going to have plenty of time. And then the other question is fuel. His fuel's getting very low. I don't think he's going to be very tight with fuel as well. 15 litres, that could also be downfall. Because I think you'll be finding that Dado's going to need to come in for some more fuel. Night Havoc on the other hand, 44 litres of fuel, with his teammate just behind him there in Commander Jim in 3rd position. Solid effort again by the team virtual drivers. It's the same way that happened at Hockenheim. Night Havoc in 1st and Commander Jim in 3rd. But we had Weary Knight 2nd, but this time it's Dado Racer currently in 2nd with Weary Knight in 4th. So they've swapped positions from what it was at Hockenheim. So it's crazy how the top drivers always seem to find themselves in the same position. One thing being fast, but it's all about consistency in these long races. Even after all the problems Dark Lord's had, he's still one of the drivers as well that hasn't copped a time penalty in this race. So sensational effort in that number 7 Team Yost Audi. What a way to finish this race with some more rain. Just look at it now, it's starting to fall a little bit heavier again. Enough that we're going to probably start seeing some spray coming off the track from these cars as they go through these wet part of the track. You can just see down there on the inside. You don't want to be too far down there. Weary Knight just in front of Dark Lord. He'd be a bit frustrated with his one Weary Knight after knowing that he was leading the race in class. If he wasn't leading, he was in 2nd with the leader just a matchbox in front of him, pretty much. There was nothing in it for a long time. But still, 4th position in a long race like this, you'd be still pretty happy with it. Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall here for Dado that he's going to have to come in for a pit stop. Very unfortunate. Had a great run. Look, he's got it down to that 12-second mark as well with 14 minutes remaining. Oh, I think that might be Tim and Jack. Yes, it is. Just slowly motoring down the end of that part of that, the start of that straight. I'll just quickly have a quick break before I come back to the last part of this race. Be back very shortly. As Tim and Jack, just as I said, he is just dropped out. Not too sure how many laps he would have had there, but he He's definitely out at the moment. Be back shortly. We'll stick on Dado Racer, see if he has to. He's obviously going to pit as he's getting that gap down again. Okay, so we got Commander Cirrus catching his teammate only 10 seconds behind. So this is a little thing that's going to happen in a team battle. Commander Cirrus, I believe he's probably on slicks. You'd think team orders may come into it, knowing the logicals. Oh, he's pushing too hard again. He's running wide. I was going to say you probably just let Illogical Sports finish second as he was came into this leading the championship, and this is extending his lead. Dark Racing 40. Haven't had a tremendous run throughout the whole race. Very nice, still going strong. In 8th position, outright, 4th in class. But the team virtual drivers, I tell you what, this Audi, the two Audis have done a tremendous job. Basically separated by a lap and a bit. You just saw Dado in the background. He'll be just coming in through the Parabolica now. Oh, is Commander Cirrus, I think, had to throw his brakes on mid-corner as Dado is coming into the pits. Where's Dado? 1.7 litres of fuel. He'll still come out in second, as long as the strategy's right. There you go. Just enough fuel to get to the end. So he'll get out in front of Commander Jim. I think he can hope for is that it actually gets super wet where Night Havoc needs to come in for a stop to put those wets on. unless he's already still got wets. But we did see the GT3 cars run for a long time in the first bit of that rain early in the race on the slicks before they came in and put the wets on. You can really see that water now starting to kick up. Dark Racing coming up to put another lap on Commander Cirrus. Or actually to put a lap on Commander Cirrus. Sorry, so Cirrus is still on the lead lap. But not for long. Darky wants to nail that final nail in the coffin after him and Cirrus had a tremendous battle in the first hour until the first round of pit stops, so it continued still after that for a while, and then Cirrus started to drop off. But who can't beat a hovercraft, I tell ya. I think those stewards need to have a look at the Porsche. Oh, as Darky does a typical Cirrus out there, getting wide on the exit of the Scari chicane, testing the waters out there. I have to say, a lot of the back markers, the different classes and the GT3 cars, they've done a tremendous job with the LMPH cars. We haven't seen them run off too far off the track. They've kept to their racing line, let the LMPHs through when they needed to. It's good to see the cars stay on track. Nothing worse than this multi-class racing when you see some guys just run way off the track onto the grass to let the faster cars through. Gives it a little bit more realism when they can stay on the track, just let the faster cars do their work. Cirrus is doing everything he can to stay just in front of Darky. They still finish on the same number of laps. Can he hold him off? He's actually running a little bit faster that previous lap. With that amount of water's going, he must have kept the wet tyres on when he pitted. There's not really any battles there to watch. We've got Night Havoc leading the GT3 class. Oh, as we just say that, he has a spin. Invites Dado back into it a little bit. But he's got his teammate just behind him just to help him out with Commander Jim. They won't be for position. Oh, Night Havoc. Oh, they're coming in the pits. They don't want to collide one another. So he's coming to the pits, Night Havoc, with only 4 minutes remaining. This is huge. Dado Racer has already pitted for his tyres, his wet tyres. So he must have been on slicks. He's putting the wet tyres on. He doesn't need fuel, but Dado is coming on down the road again. The old man. Night Havoc is motoring through, so he has He's still got a nice little margin there over Dado, but Dado is just coming out of the parabolica, and it's almost game on again. If we find Night Havoc having another issue, this well and truly could be Dado's race still. Who says endurance racing can't be fun? Look at this, exciting. 8 seconds of difference after 3 hours of racing when we just thought it was all over, but Night Havoc just could not hold out on the slick tyres in this wet weather. It got too wet, so he's had to come in for a pit, and he doesn't have, well, he does have the freedom to use his teammate to give him a buffer if he wants with Commander Jim. This is the conditions that Dado absolutely relishes. He loves the wet weather. As the LMPHs come slipping through. The GT3 cars, the Kermit the Frog cars. Don't want the two cars slipping, the two teammates slipping on top of one another. We do not want to see Night Havoc have any misfortune. He's had a tremendous race. As you can see, Dado just there in the background coming onto the back straight. As the teammates have just let him through. Oh, but Night Havoc got it a bit wrong. That's the next question. Did he select the right strategy to make sure that he got those wet tyres on? I think he has. I just thought for a minute there, oh, Dado, he's made a mistake again. You know, through the parabolica, I think he found the inside guardrail, probably hugging the inside too much like he did earlier in the race. So it's bitten him again. That said, good night for his chance to take victory in the GT3 classes. There's going to be another lap after this one. We'll see Darky be able to finish this lap and be on 114 laps. Around this wet, soggy Monza. We started off in the dry. We had some rain in the second hour, and then it cleared up for a little bit, and then the rains come again near the end of this 3-hour race, as Dark Racing has put a lap down on Cirrus now. Oh, well, he's already been a lap down. Lap down on Logical as well. So this battle is still on for this inter-team battle. With 1 lap remaining, this is the last lap. So this is really the battle that we're going to look at to the end to see if Logical Sports can hold off championship leader. Currently second. Both a lap down though on the leading Porsche. Dark Racing 40 has had a very controlled race. Big battle with Commander Cirrus early on in the race. Commander Cirrus pitting the lap before Darky for their first pit stops, then came out in front after Darky made his scheduled stop. With the lead changing a number of times before Commander Cirrus car just was not happy in the wet. Commander Cirrus still having a good look as a Logical, and Commander Cirrus, I think he avoided a Logical because he made a little mistake, so that should be the end of that one. As Dark Racing, congratulations, taking out round 2 of the ANZCRL Combined Racing League Side Endurance Series. He's flashing his lights, coming home. What a great victory that was. 3 hours of some very good motor racing on the Xbox console. Who says the console races can't do endurance races? There you go. Evidence is right there on this stream. As Commander Cirrus has taken second after Illogical Sports. Something has happened. Illogical Sports, but there is a time difference there, but I think Commander Cirrus is still going to hold on to it. Dark Lord will come home in fourth. And we're going to see the leader of the GT3 cars, Night Havoc. Will they do a formation finish, even though there are a lap difference between Night Havoc and Commander Jim? But what a sensational race it has been for Night Havoc. Unbelievable battle between him and Weary Knights for most of the race. And it looks like they are. It looks like they're going to go formation. Oh, maybe not. We're just used to seeing how fast the LMPHs are going through the parabolic. I thought that he might have slowed down. He's got the lights flashing. Well done, Night Havoc. Well deserved. Sensational job in that number 12 virtual team virtual drivers Audi RS. There's Dado Racer coming home in second, but there's no doubt this man here, Dark Racing 40, tremendous job out there. Very tricky conditions. There's a little bit of show and shine there for Dark Lord, getting it up on two wheels. Unfortunate for him that he came together with Illogical Sports, but great driving by everyone there. Weary Knight finishing it off in the sand, trying to get to the end. And there comes through Devil X. He came home in ninth. And well done to all involved. Been a sensational event. Once again, entertaining racing all the way to the end. With Commander Cirrus end up taking second from his teammate, Illogical Sports. Which could be a thing of, could have Dark Racing 40 in that Porsche actually return to the leaders, the front of the championship with that position change. Be very close. I think Illogical Sports may just still have enough points just to stay in front. But those points will be all calculated and up on our website later on tomorrow or on Monday, Mother's Day tomorrow. So you've been watching the ANZCRL Combined Racing League's Endurance Series that runs throughout the year. We've got another 3 more rounds of this to go. I've been your host, Woody Lizard. Make sure you say hi to your mums. Good to them. A lot of things for us. And also, just be safe out there, people. Keep COVID. We look forward to bringing you more racing in a few more weeks. We've got the Indy 500 up next weekend. So that's on the 15th. Please have a look at that. Where there's still open spots. Find us on the website, aus-anzcrl.weebly.com. Come and join us. And 200 laps around in absolutely blast. And we'll catch you then.